I'm going to be mutating a quote that someone posted because they think being a contrarian is scientific in some way. This isn't the quote that the flat earther left. My quote: when people just disagree with what others have known for thousands of years and has shown practical value and has not been disproven, they just ignore facts because the facts back up thousands of years of knowledge. Dogma from a religion trying to argue with scientific dogma, if you want to call it that, has a very big disadvantage. There has been no progress in religion since its inception in most religions. Virtually no religions allow themselves to adapt and change over time by simply correcting something that they do, all of them do, making stupid mistakes that eventually get found out. Most religions are based on absolutely abstaining from questioning authority. Almost everything in science is based on not only questioning authority, but doing so to become the authority, which is an attempt here that we see. But ignoring or disagreeing with well understood facts that are backed up by facts, that are backed up by research and knowledge, or just simple common experience, is not something you can respect, because in the process you have to ignore anything that contradicts what you wish to say. Knowledge doesn't progress, and that is the goal of some group of people whose standpoint is almost always in some form of non-changing, non-evolving dogma. It doesn't matter if you like that answer. Religion's fine and dandy, that's great. I'm not going to build an ark based on the design in the book concerning Noah, because the damn thing won't work. The only one that was built that actually worked a little bit like it, the person used standard shipbuilding techniques and lied about it, using modern science to build something to disprove science. Continually falsifying evidence is something that is called the noble lie or the pious lie, meaning it's okay to lie about a fact as long as you keep people in the pews. Now, why am I so anti-religious sounding? Because I'm getting fed up with this crap. Religion used to be the source for a shit ton of science. And now that we benefit from immunizations and vaccinations and making our own nitrogen that's fixed already so we can just grow plants in mass, and so that we can literally destroy the ability to have famine, one of the plagues, one of the horsemen can be killed. We've literally killed off some diseases that kill your children. We, not you. Praying for a better crop or praying away a disease doesn't work. Vaccinations and nitrogen do. It doesn't matter if you like the answer. It doesn't matter if you're a liberal and you scream "go vegan" every 5 minutes when you would drop dead trying to even farm a small potato field, which is incredibly easy to grow, by the way. Or some religious group of people demanding vaccinations stop and then bitch when a whole population in their area has their kids either get hurt or they're born deformed. Nobody rational has to put up with this shit. Now we'll look at flat earth and why it's absolutely harmless. Basalt columns are not trees because trees are not hexagons. They're not tree stumps. This would be perfectly acceptable if you could find a group of them that at one time in the past or currently were a bunch of petrified trees that laid on top of each other and pressure pushed them into hexagons. But the trouble is, they wouldn't all be hexagons if they were trees. So it's not trees. Tree fibers normally, macro scale cells for tree fibers, normally do fall in hexagons, right? Okay, where's the cell structure within this tubule? There isn't one. Maybe it's the whore on a hog's back. No. Now, I'm going to explain basalt columns in a way that makes it really hard. I'm going to do this deliberately. Really hard for you to ignore the facts given. This is mimetic communication. Hexagon basalt columns, one of many kinds, or are they, form columnar jointing because lava crystallizes very slowly in opposition to gravity as the only compelling form when it's not moving much or at all, and This causes them to form crystals the same way virtually every other thing does. Hexagon crystals are some of the most common crystal forms. They don't all have to do that. Not all lava has to form crystals. If you want to talk to a geologist, you can do that. But because it mentions the joints being cracks, the straw man argument that's brought up by flat earthers talking about this dumbass meme say, well, why would they crack exactly in hexagons? Because on a macroscopic scale, as hexagonal shapes form, the regularness, the consistency of the lava being able to form perfectly clean hexagonal curves or joints stops happening, and it forms irregular jointing at the edges because it can't form hexagons infinite size. At least it shouldn't. There are examples of nearly 100-foot across hexagons apparently, but I haven't seen any, so I'm not going to say they exist. These things form anywhere from a couple of centimeters across, about that big, all the way to 3 feet across, or even larger sometimes. But they're not tree stumps. They're not fibers from enormous trees. This isn't an example of the flood myth being confirmed. No, it isn't checkmate science. It's people lying about this. Now, the thing I want to point out about this is the first person who figured out this thing was an extremely religious person who said, oh, this is just like, and then he mentioned some other material crystallizing. You can cause, I don't know if you know about borosilicate glass, but glass likes to form crystals if it's a specific mixture. You have to break up that mixture so that it won't form large crystals. When you make microchips, you make them on enormously large, this big or even bigger, single huge crystals of silicon that want to form a specific shape. It is a specific shape, but it doesn't look like a crystal. This has to do with the purity or lack thereof of the material you're using. Lava is molten rock. You can learn what the temperature conditions would be for it forming. They're always imagining the lava flow. Well, it'll only do that. I can see this happening at 3 foot across right up next to the surface. Really? Nobody else can. Well, we don't see this happening today. Oh, your straw man is we should see hexagons in the lava, but we don't. But you truly believe, because belief is more important than facts, that it's going to form hexagons on a flowing mass of lava. So you create a condition that doesn't exist now, so you can say that we can't prove it now. But somehow you believe it'll happen. And lots and lots and lots of backhanded bullshit. And these people scream at the top of their lungs, either A, they're extremely pious religious people, name that religion, it doesn't have to be Christianity, or they scream, it's not for religious purposes, I'm just asking questions. Hence the name of Jin's Answering Questions with WebTech. I'm not even leaving any links. Hexagon, basalt, columnar jointing. And they always talk about it in the scientific papers by giving them the meme they need. It's cracking behavior. Right. Okay, anybody out there who deals with pure elemental metals like iron, if you cool it slowly enough, does it form crystals or fibers? If any of you claim to know how a sword is made, you know what I'm talking about. Alright? What do you add to it to keep it from forming crystals, or how to form them specifically the way you want to? Can you do the same experiment, which we used to do in grade school, with literally, I'm not kidding, crayons? A specific grade of crayons that used to be sold when I was a kid, back in the 70s, if you melted it, would form macroscopic crystals because it was a mixture of a particular wave, and it would always form crystals. Almost always. And you could do these experiments. We got practical experience with this with freaking crayons. I joke about people using crayons to do the red circles in YouTube videos. Apparently that's the only thing they use them for. You can also do the experiment with salt crystals, sugar crystals. There are 4 metals I remember playing with at one time, including one of them that works molten at almost room temperature that will always form crystals. And they almost always form hexagons. But no, lava can't form hexagon crystals because it's now special material, even though you see them. They formed underneath the lava flows where it was flowing slower, and they could take a longer period of time to cool down, and they tend to form crystals. And crystals tend to form, not always, but tend to form in opposition to gravity. Within the same material, so buoyancy is neutral, it formed a crystal. Is that what you're all triggered by? that gravity is the deciding factor. And yes, you can find fan shapes where midway through formation it bent and twisted because another flow came over. That's how you know which way the flow went. Sometimes it's inside of a lava tube pushing up slowly, and then it comes out in slumps. And in other cases, it's a hunk of ground that lifted up and moved because continents move over very, very long periods of time. And then some reason, no, continents can't move. But the same people sometimes post that they think Atlantis is a floating island. No one has to respect your stupidity, and I sure as hell won't. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. I was wondering when I'd have to do this stupid video. No, Devil's Tower is not an enormous tree stump. Trees aren't hexagons. You're not